How you doing? Um, I was journaling, so I thought I'd share this story with you. Um, this story occurred when I was in college, and in high school, just kind of stepping back a little bit. I was never a big believer in drugs, right, and alcohol because I was part of the DARE program. I used to promote, clean living in that respect. And when I got to college, I remember hearing about stories, really profound stories that people would have when they took acid or DMT or whatever. DMT was a later thing, but I think it was mostly acid that I was hearing about. Like, hey, you could have these really um, profound spiritual experiences um, if you take acid, but just be careful because sometimes you can also have really bad trips, right? And I've never had that type of experience, and I've always wanted one, because you always hear about people talking to God or having other type of experiences that were just really cool and very life changing, and I wanted one of those. So my then partner or significant other went out and got acid because he knew it was something that I wanted to try, and he thought, well, I can't remember if it was his first time. I could have sworn he's done it before, but he wanted us to do it together. So he got a hit and weed, and he gave me half a hit. Okay. Um, what do you call it? So I took half the hit, and the whole night I didn't feel anything. And I was like, well, if anything did happen, it was a good thing I didn't have work the next day, which is why I took it, but nothing happened. I'm like, oh, okay, whatever. Well, I guess it didn't work for me the same way that, like, when I tried weed the first time, it didn't work for me either. So, what do you call it? I was about to go to sleep, and I drank milk. And I don't know why. Oh, this is bothering me. But I don't know why, but drinking milk triggered the trip because all of a sudden, I go to bed, I close my eyes, and there are little striped or checkered black and white tubes just twisting all over the place with little red, blue, and green lights just traveling through all the tubes. Okay. I freak out. I open my eyes. They're gone. I close my eyes. They're back again. And I don't have experiences like that. I rarely ever have recurring dreams. I think I've only had two dreams continue each other, and that's it. I don't have recurring dreams. So, to see a recurring image appear when I close my eyes was different. And so I looked over to my partner and I was like, I was kind of hoping, because he was supposed to be there with me, to make sure that I was safe with my trip. But he was knocked out. Like everybody that was hanging out with us that night that stayed over, all knocked out. So I'm like, all right, I guess I'm on my own. So I went to the living room, settled myself in, and I noticed that when my teeth touched, right, this blinding light would appear. So it's like I couldn't see if my teeth touched, so I kept my tongue between my teeth. And I noticed that my senses they seemed a lot sharper, like very much sharper. I could hear people breathing in all the other rooms from the living room. I never hear people breathing, but this time I did. I could hear everyone breathing in the other living room, not the other living room, in the other rooms. And I'm not, trust me, I wasn't listening to myself breathing. I was hearing other people breathing. And then what else happened? I remember my senses were so sharp that I could sense anything moving. Like I would actually catch them all in my peripherals. It was just pretty crazy. So it also heightened my awareness of people's words because there was a movie that I always loved watching. It's one of the few movies I liked watching repeatedly, and it was called The Adventures of Mark Twain. It was a clay animation. And there were things that he said, he would say in the movie that I would never get. It would always go over my head. There were a lot of things that went over my head. I feel that I feel that this trip showed me how ignorant and how things always pass over my head when I was younger. And what do you call it? I think one of my favorite scenes that I finally laughed at was when Huck Finn goes, "What's a classic?" And Mark Twain goes, "A classic is something everybody wants to have read, but nobody wants to read." And it was so hilarious because it was so true. I'm like, why? Why? Why didn't I get this before, right? Oh my God. So as it continued, right, images were sharper to me. Everything that moved around me, if I sensed things falling, like sharper, like I was just aware of everything, like even the breathing, right? We talked about that. So now I'm sitting there with my tongue between my teeth, and I prayed. I asked God and Jesus. I just asked them, like, God, be with me. Jesus, be with me. Just in case there's something that wanted to mess with me while I was open, right? Because I'm tripping. And I heard a voice behind me, and he said, "I'm right here. I'm right behind you, but once, and only once, and never again." And of course, sitting there like, I did this again. So, and after, like, literally right after that, I heard every voice of every person that crossed my path saying to me, "I love you, I 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 love." Oh my God, I heard it so many times. And in that moment, it was again going over my head, and I just sat there and I was like, "Oh, that's so sweet." Right? But when my trip faded and I recounted when that occurred, I realized how profound that was in real life for myself, because at that time I did not feel that I was loved. I felt very unloved. I didn't feel worthy of love. And here it was just that collective universal energy that is God, that is love, that is our spiritual reality that we are not aware of, is demonstrating to me in this trip how we are really all connected, and what we don't know about how people actually do love us in their own ways. And you just don't know what you just don't know what you don't know. And it was beautiful, and I cried thinking about it after the fact. I'm like, wow, because I heard all those voices of everybody I knew. It was not just voices. I wasn't crazy, people. It was it was beautiful. That was like one of the best things that happened to me, and it really made me realize how when you think you're not being heard, you're being heard. My prayers were answered. I was both protected, and I was loved, and I was told that I was loved in the best way he could tell me, I guess, without me freaking out so terribly. And it was nice. I'm not going to say this is happening all the time. I'm not condoning drugs. I'm just letting you know a story about how I come to realize how that universal love could love you and all of us. So, be loved. We all love you. Have a good day. Okay, bye.